Coco Gauff's nursing home visit melts hearts after touching gift goes viral. The sun was just beginning to rise over Delray Beach, Florida, painting the Atlantic horizon in streaks of pink and gold. Coco Gauff's car purred softly down Ocean Boulevard, her headphones on, listening to her favorite gospel playlist. She was finally home, a rare 2-week break from the whirlwind of tournaments, press conferences, and constant travel. But that morning, something felt different. Her phone buzzed with notifications, messages from fans, sponsors, and her team. But she didn't check them. Instead, she turned the volume down, staring out the window as the morning light flickered through the palm trees. "Can we stop here?" she asked her driver suddenly, pointing to a small sign on the right. Seaside Haven Nursing and Care Center. Her assistant, Maria, blinked. "Here? Coco, that's a nursing home." "I know," Coco said, unbuckling her seatbelt. "I just want to go inside." It wasn't on her schedule. There were no cameras, no press, no planned photo ops. Just an instinct. The quiet pulled her heart, telling her she needed to be there, inside Seaside Haven. The scent of disinfectant and blooming jasmine greeted her as she entered. The reception area was warm, filled with soft music and framed photos of smiling elderly residents. The nurse at the desk looked up, startled for a second before realizing who had just walked in. "Coco Gauff," she whispered. "The Coco Gauff?" Coco smiled shyly. "Hi. I was just driving by. I thought I'd visit, if that's okay." Within minutes, word spread through the halls. Residents peeked out of their rooms. Wheelchairs rolled forward, and hushed murmurs echoed down the corridor. A young volunteer, Ethan, handed Coco a visitor's badge. "You just made a lot of people's day," he said softly. Coco chuckled. "Then let's make it even better." Meeting Ms. Ruth. The first room she entered belonged to Ruth Walker, an 89-year-old retired teacher whose walls were covered in black and white photos of her former students. Her eyes, though dim with age, lit up as Coco entered. "Miss Ruth?" Coco said gently, approaching her bedside. "I'm Coco. I play tennis." "Oh, I know who you are," Ruth said, her voice trembling but bright. "You're the girl who reminds me of Serena, the one who makes me proud to be alive long enough to see this new generation shine." Coco sat down beside her, holding her frail hand. "That means a lot to me," she whispered. Ruth chuckled. "You know, I used to teach tennis. Wooden rackets, chalk courts. Those were the days. But my knees went bad before I could ever play like you." For the next half hour, they talked about life, love, perseverance, and the joy of chasing dreams. Ruth showed her an old Polaroid of her first student, a young black girl holding a cracked racket. She wanted to play Wimbledon. Ruth said softly, "But life had other plans. You, dear, you're playing for all of us who couldn't." Coco felt her throat tighten. The gift. Before leaving, Coco asked Ruth, "Is there anything I can get you?" "Anything you like." Ruth smiled, shaking her head. "Just a good match from you next time. But if you really want to do something..." She looked at the faded photo again. "Bring hope to this place. These walls need music again." Coco didn't reply right away, but her eyes gleamed with an idea. The secret project. Over the next few days, Coco made several quiet trips back to Seaside Haven, without telling the media or even her sponsors. She spent hours talking with residents, playing board games, and even joining them for meals. But what no one knew was that she was planning something special. On her fourth visit, she arrived with boxes, dozens of them, carried in by volunteers from her foundation. The staff and residents watched in awe as they opened them. New music equipment, portable speakers, microphones, even a small stage setup. Colorful art supplies, donated by a local gallery. Personal care kits, each labeled with the resident's name. And at the center of it all, a digital screen, programmed with an app Coco helped design. Memories in motion, allowing residents to upload photos, videos, and songs from their past. "I thought maybe we could make Seaside Haven feel more like home," Coco said during a small gathering in the main hall. The residents clapped softly, some with tears streaming down their faces. But there was one more surprise. A song for Ruth. Coco stood by the microphone, holding a small envelope. "This is for Miss Ruth," she said, smiling at the woman in the front row. From the speakers came the soft strumming of a guitar, a melody Coco had written with her friend, a local musician. The song was called Still Swinging, inspired by Ruth's story and the resilience of everyone in the nursing home. The lyrics echoed through the hall. "You taught us how to dream. When dreams were far away, you lit the fire that still burns bright today. Age can't dim the spark that time forgot to steal, because love's the only power that never stops to heal." When the last note faded, Ruth was sobbing. She reached out her hand, and Coco rushed over to hug her. Cameras were rolling now. Seaside Haven's new beginning. 1 year later, Seaside Haven transformed into a vibrant community center. Music drifted through the halls daily. Families visited more often. A mural of Ruth and Coco covered the main wall, painted by a local artist titled The Serve of Love. Every year on the anniversary of her first visit, Coco returned quietly, bringing flowers and playing a few songs. The staff had even named the new recreation hall after her, the Gauff Room. On one visit, a nurse handed her a framed newspaper clipping. It was from the day after the viral video. The headline read, "Coco Gauff's nursing home visit melts hearts after touching gift goes viral." Underneath, it was a quote from Ruth. She reminded us that even when youth fades, love never does. Coco smiled through tears. She was right, she whispered. Beyond the court, years later, when she looked back on her career, the trophies, the fame, the historic wins, she often said that none of it compared to the joy she found that morning when she followed her heart into Seaside Haven. In interviews, she would often reflect, "That day taught me what victory really means. It's not the medals or the headlines. It's touching lives one heart at a time." Her foundation later built several more Haven centers inspired by Seaside Haven, dedicated to creative aging, emotional care, and intergenerational connection. Each one began with a plaque that read, "Keep swinging for those who taught us how." Epilogue, the song that never ends. Years after Ruth's passing, Still Swinging became the anthem for Coco's foundation. The song was played at fundraisers, community events, and even during the closing ceremony of a major tennis event, where Coco performed it live. As the music filled the stadium, 1,000 people held candles, swaying gently, players, fans, families, young and old. On the big screen behind her, photos appeared. Coco with the residents, Ruth's smiling face, and the mural from Seaside Haven. Coco's voice trembled slightly as she sang the final verse. "Because love's the only power that never stops to heal." The crowd erupted into applause, many wiping their eyes. And somewhere in that sea of light, Coco whispered quietly to herself, "This one's for you, Miss Ruth. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time."